Television, in the mid-20th century, had become a symbol of human progress, a marvel of technology that allowed people to witness events unfolding across the globe in real time. The space race, fueled by Cold War tensions, pushed this new medium to its limits. Networks scrambled to broadcast every launch, every orbit, and every milestone in space exploration. Engineers wrestled with complex rocket propulsion systems, delicate life support technologies, and the ever-present danger of failure, all under the unrelenting gaze of the world. Politicians, meanwhile, pressured space agencies to meet impossible deadlines, to claim victories in a high-stakes contest of national prestige. It was within this crucible of innovation and urgency that tragedy struck. On the morning of a historic live broadcast, cameras were rolling as a spacecraft prepared to ascend. The countdown reached zero, the engines ignited, and then, in an instant, disaster unfolded. A mechanical fault triggered an explosion that engulfed the vehicle in fire. Viewers watched in stunned silence as engineers and crew reacted with a mixture of training and terror, their bravery juxtaposed with the helplessness of the situation. Families at mission control and audiences at home were gripped by grief, shock, and disbelief, witnessing a death that should have been hidden from the world. In the aftermath, investigations revealed design flaws and procedural gaps that had contributed to the catastrophe. The tragedy reshaped safety protocols, leading to the redesign of critical systems and the implementation of rigorous emergency procedures. Memorials were erected, honoring those who had perished and reminding future generations of the human cost of pushing the boundaries of exploration. Live television is a paradox. It promises immediacy, intimacy, and the thrill of witnessing events as they unfold, yet it also exposes every human error, every accident, every tragedy to the scrutiny of millions. By the late 1980s, the medium had become a powerful force in American culture, shaping public perception and serving as a conduit for real-time news. Journalists like Davey Allison, a seasoned and respected reporter, were the faces of this new frontier, tasked with delivering stories from the skies, the streets, and the most unpredictable environments imaginable. Helicopter reporting, in particular, had become an essential tool for networks, allowing live coverage of traffic, breaking news, and unfolding events. But it came with inherent risks: mechanical failure, pilot error, and the unpredictability of weather all posed constant threats. Behind the cameras, producers, directors, and engineers coordinated a delicate dance, balancing live visuals with communications, timing, and the pressure to deliver compelling television. Political and commercial pressures amplified these challenges. Ratings mattered, sponsors demanded drama, and every moment aloft could make or break a network's credibility. On a crisp morning in 1987, Davey Allison climbed aboard a news helicopter for what was intended to be a routine segment. The camera crew captured the city below, traffic patterns, and urban life unfolding from a bird's eye perspective, with Allison delivering commentary in his trademark calm and articulate manner. As the helicopter rose above the skyline, a sudden mechanical fault occurred. Witnesses on the ground described a strange wobble, the rotor blades shaking violently as the aircraft lost stability. Viewers at home, watching live, saw the helicopter tilt sharply, the camera swinging wildly, capturing the panic and confusion of the crew inside. Seconds later, the helicopter collided with the ground in a catastrophic crash. For Allison, the impact was fatal. Despite emergency protocols and the bravery of the pilot and crew, nothing could prevent the immediate tragedy. Families of the victims, station staff, and an audience of millions were confronted with an unthinkable reality: a life ended in real time, broadcast into homes across the nation. The emotional impact was immediate and profound. Colleagues recounted shock and disbelief, some unable to watch the footage even later. Viewers grappled with a mix of horror, grief, and an eerie sense of helplessness. Ethical questions arose almost instantly. Should live television have boundaries? Could networks delay or censor such incidents? Or was the raw immediacy of broadcast the very essence of news? In the days that followed, investigative reports revealed a combination of mechanical failure and human factors. The tragedy prompted a nationwide review of aerial reporting protocols, leading to stricter maintenance schedules for news helicopters, enhanced safety training for journalists, and new guidelines for live broadcast coverage. Memorial services honored Allison and his colleagues, recognizing both the risks they took and the passion with which they pursued the truth. In the decades since, the crash has remained a touchstone in broadcast journalism, a somber reminder of the fragile line between storytelling and tragedy, of the courage required to deliver news firsthand, and of the responsibility borne by networks to protect those who bring the world into our living rooms. The incident reshaped an industry, leaving a legacy of improved safety standards while embedding the story of Davey Allison into the collective memory of a generation. In 2007, Myanmar, long shrouded in political isolation and strict military rule, became the stage for one of the most dramatic uprisings in Southeast Asian history. The streets of Yangon, the country's largest city, were alive with tension as monks, students, and civilians took to the streets to protest soaring fuel prices and oppressive government policies. International media attention was limited, and foreign journalists faced extreme restrictions and surveillance. Into this volatile environment stepped Kenji Nagai, a veteran Japanese photojournalist, renowned for his courage and dedication to capturing human stories from the front lines of conflict. Nagai understood the risks. Myanmar's military had a history of harsh crackdowns on dissent, and journalists were often treated as targets rather than neutral observers. Yet he was driven by a profound commitment to bear witness, to show the world what was happening behind the country's Iron Curtain. On that fateful day, Nagai moved through the crowded streets, camera in hand, documenting the unfolding protests. The crowd surged around him, chanting, waving banners, and, in some cases, throwing stones at armored vehicles. Military forces, dressed in riot gear and armed with rifles, advanced cautiously, tension crackling in the air. According to eyewitness accounts, Nagai had raised his camera, clearly identifying himself as a journalist, yet chaos enveloped the square. The soldiers opened fire. A single bullet struck Nagai in the chest, instantly ending his life. Amidst the screams and panic, his camera, still recording, captured the sudden collapse, the confusion of those around him, and the raw, unfiltered brutality of the moment. On television screens around the world, viewers saw what Nagai had lived and died to show: a nation under siege, a people risking everything for freedom, and the peril faced by those who sought to tell their story. The emotional impact of Nagai's death was immediate and profound. His colleagues and family were devastated, grappling with the horror that he had been killed simply for documenting the truth. International news organizations condemned the attack, while audiences were left reeling from the reality that Nagai's final images had become evidence of both his courage and the lethal dangers journalists face. The incident ignited a global conversation about press freedom and the ethics of reporting from conflict zones. How could journalists be protected in countries where authoritarian forces viewed cameras as weapons? How could live or recorded coverage be safely captured in environments where life itself was under threat? In the aftermath, Nagai's death prompted a series of responses from both governments and media organizations. Safety protocols for war correspondents were reviewed and strengthened, including mandatory hostile environment training, protective gear, and emergency extraction procedures. Media outlets instituted stricter guidelines for sending journalists into dangerous areas, balancing the public's right to know with the responsibility to protect life. Memorials were established in Nagai's honor, and his images continue to inspire photojournalists worldwide, a testament to his bravery and dedication. His final footage serves as both a haunting reminder of the cost of truth and a call to action, urging the international community to value and safeguard the individuals who risk everything to document history as it happens. By the early 1990s, Football had cemented itself as more than just a sport in Africa. It was a cultural phenomenon, a source of national pride, and a lens through which entire nations viewed their heroes. In Zambia, football was not only entertainment, but a unifying force that brought together communities across ethnic and social divides. The country had endured political and economic turbulence, and its national team, led by stars such as Kalusha Bwalya, represented hope, resilience, and international aspiration. Television networks, recognizing the growing global appetite for live sports coverage, began broadcasting matches to reach fans far beyond stadium walls. The technological challenges of live sports broadcasting were immense. Multiple cameras had to be synchronized, live commentary carefully timed, and satellite feeds maintained under the stress of unpredictable weather and technical glitches. Amid this backdrop, political and national expectations also weighed heavily. Football victories were celebrated as symbols of national achievement, and athletes carried the weight of collective hopes on their shoulders. On the afternoon of the fateful match in 1993, the stadium buzzed with energy. Fans filled the stands, waving flags and chanting, while cameras panned across the field, capturing every pass, tackle, and sprint. Kalusha Bwalya, one of Zambia's most celebrated footballers, was in peak form, leading his team with skill and determination. Then, in the midst of the game, disaster struck. Observers first noticed him slow his pace, clutching his chest. Moments later, he collapsed to the ground, the suddenness of the event shocking players, referees, and spectators alike. Medical personnel rushed onto the field, attempting resuscitation with urgent precision, while cameras continued to broadcast the unfolding scene live. Viewers at home, expecting a competitive match, instead watched helplessly as a life hung in the balance. The stadium fell silent, punctuated only by the desperate cries of teammates and the mechanical rhythm of emergency procedures. Bwalya's condition was stabilized through immediate intervention, but the moment left an indelible mark on everyone who witnessed it. The emotional impact of that day was profound. Fans and teammates were overwhelmed by fear, relief, and empathy, grappling with the vulnerability of even the strongest athletes. Sports commentators struggled to narrate a scene that no words could fully contain, while millions of viewers confronted the raw fragility of life in real time. The incident ignited urgent discussions across media and sports organizations about safety, medical preparedness, and the ethics of live broadcasting. Subsequent investigations revealed the critical need for advanced on-field medical equipment, specialized training for emergency responders, and pre-screening protocols for athletes to identify underlying health risks. In the aftermath, Zambia's football authorities implemented and enhanced safety measures, including mandatory cardiac screenings for players, better equipped medical teams at stadiums, and contingency protocols for live broadcasts. Memorials and tributes to athletes' courage, alongside public awareness campaigns, reinforced the importance of health and safety in sports. Kalusha Bwalya's incident, broadcast into millions of homes, became a watershed moment in sports media history. It was a stark reminder that even in arenas of triumph and celebration, life can be unexpectedly fragile, and that the unfiltered immediacy of live television carries with it both exhilaration and profound responsibility. Television has long been celebrated as a mirror of the world, a conduit through which events of monumental significance, ordinary life, and even tragedy are brought into living rooms across the globe. By the late 20th and early 21st centuries, the medium had evolved into an instantaneous portal of information capable of transmitting events as they unfolded in real time. This immediacy, however, carries an often overlooked human cost. Behind every live broadcast, there are real people, reporters, camera operators, technicians, who risk not only professional failure but physical danger. Families watch anxiously from home, unaware that a routine segment may become a life-altering event. Newsrooms operate under immense pressure, balancing the commercial demands of ratings and sponsorship with the moral and ethical responsibility to protect the human beings delivering the news. Political and societal pressures also loom. Large networks are called upon to cover conflicts, disasters, and accidents with rigor and speed, often in environments where safety is compromised and unpredictability is high. The tragedies of live television, from helicopter crashes and war zone deaths to sudden on-field collapses, reveal the fragility of life in stark relief. Step by step, these incidents unfold before cameras, capturing technical malfunctions, split-second decisions, and human reactions in real time. In moments of chaos, journalists display extraordinary bravery, rushing toward danger to bear witness. Simultaneously, viewers experience shock, fear, and grief, powerless to intervene, yet bound emotionally to the story. The aftermath of such events extends beyond grief. News organizations are compelled to evaluate their protocols, reassess risk, and implement new safeguards. Delays in live feeds are introduced to prevent audiences from witnessing unfiltered fatalities, while specialized psychological support is offered to staff who experience trauma firsthand. Training programs evolve to include emergency response procedures, hostile environment preparation, and guidelines for ethical reporting under duress. The human stories behind these headlines are both heartbreaking and inspiring. Colleagues mourn fallen reporters and athletes, yet they continue to honor their legacy through memorials, scholarships, and awards in their names. Families, while grieving, often advocate for greater protections for those in dangerous professions, ensuring that no life is lost in vain. The lessons extend to the audience as well. Viewers are reminded that behind every image, there is a human being whose courage, vulnerability, and humanity are being documented. These events challenge us to reconcile our fascination with live, unfiltered reality with the moral responsibility to respect the lives it portrays. In the long term, these tragedies reshape entire industries. Broadcasting regulations are strengthened, equipment is upgraded, and ethical standards codified. Memorials are erected not only to honor those who perished, but to symbolize the collective commitment to safety, integrity, and the value of human life. The scars left by live television deaths are permanent, yet they inspire vigilance, compassion, and innovation. They compel news organizations, sports federations, and governments to prioritize human well-being alongside the pursuit of truth. Ultimately, examining these moments reminds us that behind every headline is a fragile, courageous individual, and that the responsibility of witnessing, of showing the world what happens, is both profound and sacred. Television has, for decades, been humanity's mirror, reflecting triumph, struggle, and the raw spectrum of human experience. It allows millions of people to witness events unfolding far beyond their immediate reach, providing a sense of connection to history in real time. By the early 21st century, live broadcasts had become an essential part of global consciousness, from breaking news to live sports, from political upheavals to cultural milestones. The very immediacy that makes live television compelling, however, also renders it perilously unforgiving. There is no editing, no safety net, no pause button. Every detail, every moment, every mistake is exposed to the world. In this environment, tragedies that unfold live are captured with stark clarity, leaving audiences stunned and grieving, and leaving lasting impressions on the collective memory of viewers. As screens slowly go dark in the aftermath of such moments, the magnitude of what has been witnessed sinks in. The deaths captured on live television, from war correspondents in conflict zones to athletes collapsing on fields, from reporters lost in on-air accidents to civilians caught in disasters, remind us of life's fragility. Behind each broadcast are human beings who risked their lives to tell a story, to convey truth, to bring the world closer together. There is fear in these moments, palpable in the faces of those involved, bravery in the instinct to continue filming, reporting, or assisting amidst danger, grief shared by colleagues, families, and audiences alike, and heroism in the act of witnessing, documenting, and preserving human stories even under extreme duress. These images, replayed and remembered, are more than news. They are a testament to courage and vulnerability intertwined. The timeline of tragedy on live broadcast often unfolds in seconds yet resonates for years. Mechanical failures, unforeseen accidents, sudden medical emergencies, or acts of violence can erupt in real time, leaving viewers powerless yet emotionally enmeshed. The responses of those involved, emergency crews, journalists, medics, teammates, illustrate humanity at its most reactive and compassionate. The shared shock and sorrow ripple far beyond the immediate location, prompting public outcry, governmental inquiries, and industry-wide introspection. These events force news organizations, broadcasters, and networks to evaluate not only technical safeguards, such as feed delays or emergency protocols, but also psychological support for crews and audiences who bear witness. In the long term, these tragedies inspire change. Policies are rewritten, safety regulations are tightened, equipment is improved, and memorials are erected to honor those who perished. Ethical standards evolve to balance the public's right to know with the imperative to protect life. The fading glow of television screens becomes symbolic, a quiet moment of reflection on what has transpired, a visual pause that invites contemplation on mortality, courage, and responsibility. The lessons our enduring live television is not merely a window to the world. It is a reminder that behind every image, there is a human life, fleeting and precious, and that the act of witnessing carries with it a profound duty of care, respect, and remembrance. As the screen fades to black, the words linger, in memory of those lost on live broadcast. May their stories inspire vigilance, compassion, and change. They are more than a dedication, they are a call to honor human bravery, to learn from tragedy, and to approach the world's stories with both empathy and responsibility. The images may disappear from view, but their imprint on our consciousness endures, echoing the fragile, fleeting nature of life and the indelible weight of witnessing it.